He joins us now. Congressman, thank you for being with us this morning. What did you learn from Ambassador Sondland's testimony?
Well, based on the public record, here's what we know. The ambassador was dealing with Rudy Giuliani in our foreign policy in Ukraine. And there is absolutely no justification for the president's personal lawyer having an influence on American foreign policy. We know from the public testimony or public reporting that this is something that bothered many, many people at the State Department and has hurt the morale, frankly, and compromised our national security.
So Mick Mulvaney, among the many things he confessed to yesterday, was that Rudy Giuliani was, in fact, the point person on Ukraine's policy. But he said there's nothing wrong with that. The president can choose whoever he wants to influence or help direct foreign policy. Is he right?
Isn't that the whole issue? I mean, he said, get over it. Basically, he said the president withheld aid. The president asked Ukraine to investigate the 2016 debunked conspiracy theories, but there's nothing wrong with it, as you pointed out. And that's the issue here. This is not a factual dispute. This comes down to whether you think the president of the United States should be able to have his personal lawyer conduct foreign policy, and whether the president of the United States should be able to threaten other countries to investigate a political rival or conspiracy theories. Democrats believe that's an abuse of the Constitution, an abuse of the presidential power. Republicans and Mick Mulvaney basically believe that's fine. And really, that's the decision for this country. It's not about facts. It's about values.
Well, isn't it about why Rudy Giuliani was directing the policy toward Ukraine, which now apparently everyone admits that he was the funnel through which it all passed? It's the why. Was it for the benefit of America, or was it for the personal political benefit of Donald J. Trump? What have you learned when you've been listening to this testimony?
Well, it's very clear, again, based on the public reporting, that this was for the benefit of Donald Trump. I mean, this is a scheme to figure out dirt on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Does anyone for a minute believe that if Joe Biden were not running for president of the United States, that Donald Trump would be asking for an investigation into Joe Biden? I mean, it's just too coincidental that Joe Biden happens to be the leading candidate back in July against Donald Trump in the polls, and Donald Trump is worried about his son, Hunter Biden, and then he's worried about some debunked conspiracy theory of Ukraine's role in the 2016 election. I mean, if this was Donald Trump saying we want to have Ukraine have an anti-corruption program and we're going to threaten aid until they take reforms, no, we wouldn't be here. But the problem is, why is Joe Biden's name in the call transcript? Why is Hunter Biden coming up?
One of the things that Mick Mulvaney confessed to yesterday was a quid pro quo, but he says it was to investigate corruption, and he made explicitly clear that that corruption involved, in his mind, the 2016 election and some of these conspiracy theories out there. So he admitted to that quid pro quo, but he said, no, it was not the Joe Biden quid pro quo. Is that a distinction, or how does that distinction matter, Congressman?
Well, he walked it back and later clarified that he wasn't speaking about Biden and was speaking about the 2016 debunked conspiracy theories.
Well, he even walked that back, but he said it out loud. Look, he said what he said out loud repeatedly, so I'm going to take him at his word when the cameras were rolling there. But my question is there a difference between a quid pro quo that looks into the 2016 election and one that looks into Joe Biden?
Yes, the Joe Biden one is worse. I think both are bad. Look, if all the president had said is we want broad anti-corruption measures, that is fine. I mean, no one, of course, the American president has the ability to say to other countries, take broad measures to root out corruption. But that's not what happened in this case. The president was going after debunked conspiracy theories to try to vindicate his own political standing. That's bad. Of course, what's terrible is the president bringing up Biden on the phone call. So I think what you're dealing with is the gravity of the offense, the Biden one being the worst, but asking to investigate debunked conspiracy theories for your personal gain and political standing is bad as well. And Mulvaney admitted to that.
I have to let you go, but do you need to hear any more evidence at this point before you feel you're ready to vote on whether to impeach the president?
We're ready to vote. I mean, again, the president, in my view, has clearly abused his office. He's clearly shredded the Constitution. The votes are there in the House. I hope we take the vote, and then I hope there will be some Republican senators like Mitt Romney or Ben Sass who will look at the evidence and think about their responsibility to our Constitution.
Congressman Ro Khanna, thank you for being with us.